Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LangShack. So, today we're going to be talking about verb conjugations in the Lenape language. This is a language that I'm currently actively studying right now, and I studied the verbs last night. I tried to make this video last night, but I just couldn't. Still, the verbs didn't quite stick to me. But anyway, we're going to go over this now, so let's dive in. So, Lenape verbs, at least in this video, are they're going to seem like they're similar to European languages. But I just want to make a note, a disclaimer rather, that the source of all this stuff came from an 1800s, rather an early 1800s book, a grammar book. And the person may have been thinking about the Lenape language from an English standpoint, like asking what kind of tenses they have. And having seen different indigenous languages such as Nahuatl, where you have really long words, you can end up creating very complex tenses and moods and stuff like that just by just chaining different affixes together. And this can become as complex as the speaker wants it to be, as I demonstrated in my Nahuatl video a few years ago, where there's a portion of the video where I show this chart of verbs and how they can be changed and expanded. And there's also Ali also has things that we don't even have in our language. So I'm sure Lenape has those things, but just keep that in mind as we go through this, that there may be tons of tenses that are just completely looked over. That may be better covered in like 1900s grammars that are a little bit less English language centered. So the Lenape language, according to this video, they have indicative, there's imperatives, there's subjunctive. So it seems like their subjunctive was more complex than ours. And there's also a negative, but we're not covering the negative in this video. We'll cover that in a future video because that's a completely different. So the infinitive of the verb, this is typically just, it doesn't mean anything. It's just the base form. So it's like to do or to be, something like that. And again, no need to talk about this more. So we're going to be using the verb lìsin. Lìsin means to do or to be so. Lenape doesn't have a formal to be verb in the same way that ours is. It's not even like Turkish's olmak, which isn't really a to be. It's more like a to become. But we'll go over the base forms in this section. So lìsin is the present tense base form. The past tense or the preterite will always have this eep at the end. And in the future, you're going to have an each. So lìsin each will be something in the future. You're never going to see these base forms actually being used. You're mostly going to just see the endings that they have. So you'll see p's a lot in the p at the end of a lot of preterite stuff. You'll see ch's a lot in the future stuff, and then so on and so forth. So we're going to go through just a general, and then we'll go through a little bit more of the endings here as after the section. So because this is a verb that ends in C, I think, according to the translator's notes in the book, it conjugates a little differently. So I'm assuming that's why instead of saying Nelson, you would say Ndelson, which is something like I am that way, or I am so, or I do. And then the second person singular, you say you are, or you do, you are so, or you do. You say Cadelson, same way, not Kelson. And then Wadelson for he or she. And then the plural, it's a little bit different. So you put the in at the end, and then you put the at the beginning. So Ndelson. And then for you all are, or you do so, or you all are that way, you could say Kadelsahimo. So you just put a k, just like in the second person singular, and then you put the hemo at the end. And then for the third person plural, you have Wadelsinewa. So is not really part of this because it's part lìsin is the verb. So it's actually just w or u, and then it ends in ewo. So now we'll dive into these present tense examples, or sorry, preterite. We'll dive into these a little bit more. Sorry, I thought we had these in there. Okay, so this is where I believe that we're going to be diving in a little bit more. So indicative mood, just your regular present tense mood. I'm doing. So the present tense here, we've already went through this. Undelsen, Kadelsen, Widelsen. And then in the plural present tense, I just wanted to show this because you can see it marked up a little bit better here. So undelsenin, as you see here, kadelsehimo, wadelsenewel. And then the past tense, as I mentioned earlier with lisinip, you will see a lot of p's at the end. So in the singular past tense, you have kadelsenip, kadelsenip, wadelsenip. So it's essentially the same as the present tense, except you add ep at the end. So that makes it easy. In the plural, this is probably the most difficult one because in the future it's essentially just a will like word. But in the plural past tense, it's for the most part the beginning parts of these are all the same as the present tense. However, whenever you put it at the end, these suffixes, so to speak, they all start, except the third person, start in he or he. So, undelse henop, we were so, or we did so. Kadelse hinwap, you all were, or you all did so. Kind of reminds me of himo. So I'm assuming that his guy, I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks like it has something here. And then wadelse netwap, they were or did so. And then in the future, this one is much easier because you just put notch, and the ch is a future tense marker. But notch is just a general word that seems to mean will. So I will be so, or I will do so. So notch and delson, notch kadelson, notch wadelson. So that's it. It's the same as you just use notch and then you put your present tense conjugation. So pretty simple. And then in the plural, it's the same as it's literally the same thing. So you put your present tense endings nonch undelsening, nonch kadelsehimo, and nonch wadelsenewel. Could also be nonch kadelsehemo because there is a h sound and a guttural sound in that language. So now we have imperative and subjunctive moods. So the imperative mood is simply just giving a command or requesting something from someone, something like that. Nothing complicated. And then so we're going to go over the imperatives real quick. So this isn't that complicated. So lisil, so you have lis. So they took the in off and put the il. So lisil. So you be quiet. And then lisik. You also have lisik. And then whenever you're telling a group of us to do something, you say visitam. And I believe this is a one person telling a group of us, first person, singular, inclusive, or rather exclusive because the speaker's not part of it. And then the plural. So this one's interesting because the only difference is this ichte. So this ichte will be, they shall be quiet. Let them be, or let them do so, something like that. And then licitich. Licitich is simply for he or she. So licichtitich is for them. Licichtitich. And then licitich is for he or she. So licichtitich for they all, and licitich for just he or she. And then we have licilich, which is just he shall be so. He shall be that way. He shall be so. So that's that. So this will show a little bit better how this works. So do you let us be. Misi tam. Lisil, be that way, be so. It's just someone talking to one person properly. Singular additional, lisilich. be or he do so. He shall be. It's probably just someone talking to somebody saying about him. And then singular lìsin, be or do. Be so. Be that way or do. Lìsin. Or yeah, lìsin. Just saying it. And then whenever someone's talking to a group of us, not sure, one person tells a group of us to do something, listed tamuk. So tamuk is that suffix. And then the double plural. So you're telling a group of two other people or a group of them to tell, a group of thems is telling another group of them. So lisich. And if you have questions about that, just ask in the comments and I'll put stuff up. I also have a guide on my LangShack website. If you have an account there, you can look at that in lesson, what is it? Lesson 13.1. I have that whole chart up in Markdown. So we have the subjunctive. So the subjunctive is, it can be if I were this way, or if it has a lot of more deeper meanings in Spanish, like hypotheticals. It can talk about possibilities. It can talk about things that could happen, but things that haven't, or things that may happen. It's got all kinds of different things. We don't really have it in English, but the best translation that the writer at the time could come up with was "if I am," or "if they choose to do something," which is kind of like, talking a little bit about the possibilities. But "ie" is for I, "iane," so this "ane" is for you, and then "ite" for he or she. And if we are, then "ienke." So "unke," you'll see this "unke" a lot with the first person plural, and then "ieke" if you all are, and "ichtite." So it's the same as that imperative ending for they. And then the past subjunctive, so it's a little bit different, but it seems like for the most part you're just adding oop at the end, just like with lìsini, which is the past imperative, not the past imperative, the past infinitive form, the past base form. So lis iakup, if I was, lis ian plus oop, and then for he or she, lis eat plus oop, and then the plural forms are lisi yenkup. So yank for we plus oop, and then if you all were, I may have, lis iekup. I forgot to bold that. Sorry, embolden that. Lis iekup, and then lisichtit, lisichtitup, if they were. So past subjunctive works a little bit different from present subjunctive. We don't really have these in English, but unless you create meanings like if you were this way. But it goes much further in this language. I'm just saying I don't think these were all the tenses. I'm pretty sure it got way more complex than this. And then lis, and then yakpane, if it had been or done so, ianpane, itpane, iankpane, iekpane, and ichtitpane. So if they had been or done so, pluperfect, so they say. And then the future, you have the same endings except you put se and then you put etch in the future. If we shall be. So that was all we had today. If you have any questions about these conjugations, or you want a little bit more depth into Lenape verbs, I can research that and make a video on it. Just let me know. I'll probably be doing that most likely anyway. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll be sharing all my grammar stuff in presentations like this. So if you like the setup, let me know what you think. You can also visit LangShack.club if you'd like to learn the language with AI-based tools, and where you can keep track of your language learning journeys and practice with conversation like an AI chatbot and all that stuff. Head over to LangShack.club and you can check out all your languages out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.